There was a point in my life where I literally stood at my window screaming at the top of my lungs at people outside, and it was not fun. At the time, I was just so filled with anger. So oftentimes when people talk about mental illness, the first thing that appears in their mind probably isn't as dramatic as what other people make it out to be. And that's something that has really changed the face of mental illness, especially in media and other things like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube even. There's a lot that goes into a face that you put on for the world. Early warning signs are signs that appear before the onset of the specific illness. For many different people, it can be common. Especially for me, it was common. So today I'm going to be talking about my early warning signs for psychosis and depression. A little backstory on me. Hello, I'm Eusebius. I have 3 mental disorders, and I've suffered with addiction in the past, and the main one that I like to talk about the most is my depression. Is my psychosis. Because in the world of psychosis, there are positive and negative symptoms. Negative symptoms being symptoms that are taken away, or characteristics, aspects of your life that are taken away, and positive symptoms are ones that add stuff to you. Negative symptoms appear in many different forms, like I mentioned before, depression, and it even goes on to the complete opposite side of the spectrum, mania. What a lot of people don't realize is the fact that the common misconceptions that people have about these disorders are not only after a very long time after onset, but also a much more extreme version than most people experience. For me, I had experienced depression before my psychosis fully set in. I've experienced depression for a number of years as a child, and back then my depression was a lot more common than my psychosis. I would still hallucinate, I would still have strange delusions. You can ask my friends from back then that I was a really weird kid because I had all these I had these ideas of me being some sort of person who can save the world through this mixture that I created with a bunch of different chemicals that you could find in a supermarket, and I combined all those chemicals together and I created something known as the perfect cell, when in reality it was just slime. I had a delusion that I had created a perfect cell. But regardless, my depression had been a part of my life longer than my psychosis had. And it's something that I had to hear from a doctor before I really believed it. Because for me, I was one of those people who believed in the very dramatic onset that they show in the movies and books and TV shows and TikTok and YouTube and all of that. I sort of expected depression to be as bad as how some other people take it, when it isn't necessarily like that. As it is for all mental illness, it is very subjective. It is different for every person. For me, I was experiencing a sort of depression that was low in intensity but high in duration. I think it does have a medical name, but it doesn't appear in my mind right now. But not only that, not only depression, not only did I have warning signs for that depression, but these warning signs were a bit more obvious than some people would like to know about. For me, my early warning signs was extreme anger, and I still experience extreme anger. It is something that has been living with me and my family for a very long time. We are very angry people, and that's something that if you ever were my neighbor, you would hear us screaming literally on a daily basis, because there is probably a 100% chance that we would have screamed at least once per day, per week, at least once a day, every day for a week, every day for a month, every day for a year, every day that we've ever lived here. I don't remember a week going by without somebody screaming. And that doesn't necessarily help with my mental illness, but it's something that I thought was normal. I thought my extreme anger was something that was passed down in my family, when in reality it was a precursor to depression. And that depression was a precursor to my psychosis. So it all works together in a weird way. It all works together in a way that is very common with other people, but at the same time is different enough for it to be unique to myself. So I hope that helps. The main the main precursor to my psychosis, to my depression, was extreme anger. And I remember I would get so angry, I would punch my walls, I would trash my room, I would scream into a pillow, I would walk outside and start screaming at people. There was a point in my life where I literally stood at my window screaming at the top of my lungs at people outside, and it was not fun. At the time, I was just so filled with anger. But that's something that I've had to live with. And I do lose my temper a lot, many times, even today. Just literally minutes ago, I had lost my temper. And as unique as my situation is, I feel like it's my duty to not show... Sorry, car outside. I feel like it's my duty to not act like, oh, this is hurting me. I feel like it's my duty to be strong. And I know that a lot of people think that in their life is the same. So, be careful about what ticks you off. Because sometimes what ticks you off can lead to something a lot more serious. And I'm not saying serious as in, oh, committing crimes or anything. I'm saying serious as in you could hurt yourself, you could end up hurting other people, not in a criminal way, but like hurting people's feelings, which is a lot more important than some people like to know or acknowledge. But regardless, if you are in an emergency and you need someone to talk to, I have emergency links down below. If you want to DM me, talk to me, whatever, look at my art. I have my Instagram down there if you want to check it out. And yeah, hope you stay safe. Ahoy ho, malama pono.